If you've just had your ACL surgery in the past week or two, there's probably a good chance that you're struggling to get your quads activated and to start to get them working. So this is what today's video is all about. Thanks for watching this video. My name is Oisin Quinn. I'm an S&C coach and a GAA player. Unfortunately, I've tore my ACL twice now, but I've came back from it and I'm playing. And now what I get to do is I train athletes to come back from ACL injuries bigger and better than what they were before. There's going to be a lot of exercises I can show you, and I'm going to show you some of them later on, but there's a really quick and easy way to get your quads activated and get them back. You kind of do have to pay for this here, but it's quite a useful thing that saves you a lot of time. You can buy like muscle stimulators, so you can get them on Amazon, you can get them on websites. Sometimes even your physios might give you one to use as well. But essentially, like in a really simple way, what these do is they kind of like electric shock your muscle to get it activated. Sounds a wee bit mad, but it really works. I'm going to show you how here now. Whenever you've just come out of your ACL surgery, sometimes it just feels like you cannot get that quad going at all. So we use devices like this here because it involuntarily contracts the muscle for you. So you don't even have to try and do it. It's doing it. And a lot of them are pretty useful because you record a lot of it, or you control a lot of it on your phone. So you can see my quad going here and it's activating, it's tensing. And the great thing I find about this here is once your brain starts to feel you being able to do that, it starts to make it much easier for it to happen whenever you go to do your exercises. And then even to take this a step further, you would start to actually do your exercises with this on, which I'll show you after. And that there to me is like the best way to get your quads activated. You can find a ton of different exercises on Instagram and YouTube, which are brilliant, but this here is the most effective way to do it. And sometimes it's relatively cheap depending on where you get it and where you find it. Trying to isolate the quad, I think, is probably the most important thing to trying to get that quad going. You can do squats and deadlifts and they'll be brilliant, but I think you're really going to struggle to target the quad. So one of the exercises I love to use is the leg extension. Start with a foam roller in early stage where it's just literally trying to do that. It looks simple, but whenever you're just out of surgery, that one can be really difficult. You feel the quad working straight away whenever you do that. The way you make that even better is then you put those muscle stimulators on the quad, and as you go up and it's contracting, gets a much better contraction in the quad, and again it starts to get the brain thinking and realizing you can start to activate and get that quad working. That would be kind of step one with it, and then we would take it on then to see if we can increase the range of motion on it. Next stage then, adding that extra range of motion to it's going to make a big difference. It acts as a good strength exercise, but also a great way to get the quad activated. The way I like to do it in those first few weeks is just sit on a leg extension machine, or else you could use a box that you might use for a box jump and just try and do a basic body weight leg extension. Might actually take you a few weeks before you can do that at all or do it even pain free. So it'd work on trying to be able to do that and work through the full range of motion. Again, you could use your muscle stimulator whenever you're doing that. Once you get to the point where you're doing that pain free and you're feeling pretty comfortable with it, then you could start to add a bit of band resistance. So I could loop a band around here, attach it to a kettlebell or weight in behind me, and then I'm just pushing up against a light bit of resistance. To me, doing this here kind of series where you're working from the ground right up to building your range of motion is probably the best way to get that quad activation back, along with doing your muscle stimulator. If you can get that in combination, it probably isn't a better one you can do. So start with that there, and it's a really good place to start with it. Another variation you can do to get the quads going then is doing a wall sit, which probably most people will be familiar with. So here, all we're going is down into a squat against the wall at the back. You're going to work down as deep as you feel comfortable and as deep as kind of the pain threshold allows you. Sitting here, and you're just going to sit in this position, work anywhere from 30 up to 60 seconds. But straight away, I feel my quad working there. Again, what you can do is put the muscle stimulators on. So as you're loading through the quad here, you're getting the full contraction as well. Ways you can make this more difficult is you can just start to like lift that other leg up a bit, and then that's putting a bit more load on here. You can try to go deeper into it as well. And all them wee ways will really start to get the quad built up and start to get it activated. Next one then, and talked about this in the last video we done for getting your extension flexion back. And this is where the early stage of rehab gets a bit boring because you repeat a lot of exercises, but a lot of the exercise double up to help you out with a couple of different things. So this is our TKE, the terminal knee extension. We get the band around here, and then he goes out to the back here. I think this is brilliant for getting the quads activated because as you come back in, you're getting that full quad extension. And the good thing is you can make it more difficult by the band resistance. So I'm just letting the knee bend here and then pulling back in and trying to straighten as much as I can. And whenever I go back into that fully straightened position, I can feel the quads starting to work there. Over time, I just build up the heaviness of the band. So the heavier it becomes, the more difficult this will become. The next way then, obviously, step it on like we talked about all day is can you put on that muscle stimulator as well to do it? And that's going to help get a bit more of a contraction out of it. Whenever you're just starting and just coming out of rehab or out of surgery, keep the band really light. And then as you progress and get stronger, just keep progressing it up. It's even a good one you could do as your rehab goes on, just for a warm up in the knee. Something I would do all the time myself or with clients. Final one for you to work on, and again, this is one you can do straight after your surgery that you could start to work on, and one you can do from the house as well. It's doing kind of like the terminal knee extension and the foam roller extension that we done earlier, but just kind of like lying on your stomach. So I feel like it's almost slightly easier to start to do initially. So basically, all we're going to do is just lying down in the stomach, keep the toe pulled in on the right side rather than keeping it out, and then from here, I'm just trying to like push the back of my knee up to the roof. Again, I'm starting to get that extension and I'm starting to get the quad going. Relatively simple one to do, but nice because you can start doing that straight away after surgery. So a combination of all these here are great in them first couple of weeks post-surgery to try and get that activation back in your quad. And if you're able to use a muscle stimulator, it makes it even better again. But once you can start to get that quad activated, that's like the start of being able to do some of the funner things in your rehab. This initial stage is boring and repetitive, but once you get through it, that's when it starts to get fun. So if you're watching these videos, there's a good chance that you probably need help with your ACL rehab. I get to train ACL athletes all over the world with my online ACL program. So if you want to find out some more, all you got to do is click the link below and you can set up a free call with me to find out more about the program.